JFD, just fair and direct.
Okay, hello and good morning everyone. Welcome to JFD Traders Espresso with me, Darius Anucauskas. Today is the 1st of November 2021. So yep, welcome everyone. Welcome to this first trading day of this month. And of course first trading day of this week. But yeah guys, as always, before we jump in any further, we need to have a quick read through our risk disclaimer. So yep, the content we produce does not constitute investment advice or investment recommendation, should not be considered as such, and does not in any way constitute an invitation to acquire any financial instrument or product. As always, I'll give you a few seconds to read the rest and we can continue. Okay, so now then, also just before we jump into the charts, as always, quick mentioning of our JFD YouTube channel, to which you can always subscribe to in order not to miss any of our upcoming videos, and of course our JFD Bank website, and specifically our JFD research page, which we also update on a daily basis. So you have to check us out here on jfdbank.com. And yeah, click on the research tab right there on the top. So now then, the first one I want to pick up here is Nikkei 225. So I'll go through a few of the instruments that I looked at last week, basically just to see how everything's getting along, because they are forming interesting patterns. But the first one I want to pick up here is, as always, Nikkei 225. So we popped nicely to the upside here. We broke the downside line, well, actually by default, just opening higher. That's how we ended up breaking this downside line. And also, most importantly, we also popped above this 29,489 zone, marked by the high, or should I say the highest point of October, and yeah, we cleared that. So all this of course is looking a little bit more on the positive side. Ideally I would like to aim now for this 30,414 level, but of course on the way higher we do have that psychological 30,000 mark, which is not far from the low of the 28th of September, and yeah, then we will slowly take it from there. So for now guys, like I said, long story short, I'm going to be aiming for this area, for the psychological 30,000 mark, as long as the price stays above this 29,489 zone. If it starts falling back below it, I'll take a neutral stand, because in order for me, let's say, to consider maybe the downside on this one, well, given that it's a little bit on the tricky side here, I would say wait for a drop below this upside line right here, although it's a tentative one, don't get me wrong, but yeah, a break of this upside line and a drop also below this this whole support area that I've mentioned previously, in between the 28,472 and the 28,581 levels. If it falls below it, then well, we could consider some a move to the downside. But at the moment, everything's looking a little bit more on the positive side. Shanghai Composite, very quickly on this one, so also a quick update on this index. And if you remember last week I talked about this this little range here where the index is currently sitting in, and yeah, so it did try to move higher today, as you can see, popped above this 3,553 level, but failed to remain above this. But we still have around 50 something minutes left of trading, so maybe we could end up pushing back above this area. However, let's not get our hopes up yet. First, basically, let's see that move, and then kind of we can do something about it. But at the moment, guys, we're trading near the lower side of this little range. I'm not saying that this is a bearish indication, but just like I said, just be very careful if by any chance it falls below this this 3,515 level. Now that's where, yep, potentially more sellers could join in, so keep that in mind. But for the upside, as I said, I need that 3,553 level getting cleared, and I would like to see a close above this area as well in order to get a little bit more comfortable with the upside. Now jumping into DAX, and yep, the German index, well, it's I hate when things like that happen, but well, it's part of the game, of course. But basically this is a little bit annoying here. So we broke the We broke this upside line. We drifted lower, but then quickly it recovered by the end of the day and ended the day back above this upside line. So although this upside line was violated and I would like to get rid of it, I mean, this is kind of, it seems like for now it's a good indication of how to measure this, but let's put it this way. Let's take a bit of a conservative approach here, and let's remove this upside line, no longer going to be valid. Let's adjust a few levels. So basically, in order to go for the upside, now I'll take a very careful approach. As I said, this 15,792 territory, that's what I'm going to be keeping an eye on in order to aim for the upside. So if we get a nice pop above it and we stay above this area, then yes, I'll aim for that all-time high near the 16,030 level, and then we'll take it from there. For the downside, as you can see, the 21-day EMA did provide good support. So if we drop below that 21-day EMA, then yes, we could maybe consider a move lower, but of course then we would also need to clear this 100-day EMA, but we'll go slowly on this one for now. That's what I'm going to be looking at. I'm going to be keeping an eye on this, 21-day EMA first for the downside. Nasdaq, so good a new all-time high, good move higher. So let's see what's happening. Oh, and by the way, with the German index DAX, it's looking at the cash index, it's currently sitting at around 15,750 levels. So basically above Friday's close, but still below this barrier, the one that I was mentioning. Nasdaq 100, that one is also looking quite interesting. So we created a new all-time high here on Friday near this 15,850 level, but then looking at the cash index right now, we can see that it is kind of moving a little bit further north. It had already moved a little bit further north. We have managed to reach an area, and let me just quickly double check something here, near the 15,919. So yep, but again, let's see how this is going to open up and where this is going to open up today. Let's see if we can push further north. However, don't get me wrong, I mean, we did get a nice rally already, but the question here is, is this going to be part of the Christmas rally, or will we ever even get one? If we do, then the question is this already part of that, or we will actually see maybe a bit of a retracement first and then another push higher. So let's be very careful with that. Let's go from what we have right now. Basically, if we do see the index somehow falling back below this 15,700 territory right here, marked near the highest point of September, then well, I'll consider maybe a bit of a retracement here back down and towards this short-term tentative upside support line taken from the low of the 4th of October. But as long as we stay above this area, then the sky's the limit for this one, so it could continue pushing higher. Now DXY, another index, but this one's the dollar index. So yep, a beautiful reversal here on Friday. As you can see, strong reversal back to the upside, and we've popped above this area right here, this 93.96 zone, or in a way we could round it up here a little bit towards that 94 territory. So we popped above it, we popped above that 94 territory, and yep, we stayed above it, and we also managed to clear this 94.17 level. So in a way, this is looking a little bit more on the positive side. However, given the recent choppiness here, I mean, I will be a little bit more on the careful side. Yes, for now, I mean, yes, of course, it's kind of looking a little bit more positive, but like I said, given the recent choppiness here, let's see if it's not going to continue for a while, because at the moment it's just basically looking at this, it's kind of oscillating around that 21-day EMA. So let's be very careful. If you are very cautious, then of course, yes, keeping an eye on the highest point of October near the 94.56 zone, yes, might do the trick for you. But yeah, in this way let's say on a nice good break above that barrier, would confirm a forthcoming higher high and potentially, yep, could lead to some higher levels. But again, let's go slowly on this one. For now, like I said, I'm gonna be just observing the price action here. Gold. So gold, of course, didn't like the stronger dollar on Friday. As you can see, it declined and fell back below this this downside resistance line taken from the high of the 1st of June. So yeah, for now, I would say if it stays below this downside line, then yes, we could aim for lower levels, especially also if it falls below the low of last week near the 1772 territory. This break here would confirm a forthcoming lower low, and yeah, we could slowly then drift lower. However, let's not forget that we do have this little short-term tentative upside line here as well, which not saying that this could be like, I mean, a very strong area of support, but just let's see if it's actually will end up actually providing some sort of support. So that's why if we are going to aim for lower levels, then well, we will initially aim only for this this upside line. WTI oil, having a nice little retracement here, but I think this is looking a little bit more on the bearish side. However, I'm not going to rush into anything, and again, the bearish side, I mean, only up until this upside line taken from the low the 23rd of August. So basically, in other words, a bit of a corrective move only. So at the moment, yes, we're seeing a bit of a, like I said, retracement. We had a nice decline last week, and let's have a quick look at the weekly chart actually. So yeah, it was the first week that closed in the red. Well, it has been running in positive territory for about 9 weeks, and yep, in the 10th week was well, it closed in the red. So again, of course, some of you are probably already looking at those shorts here, but be very careful, guys. I mean, we could still see this one popping higher and making its way north towards the highest point of October near the 85.39 level. But if that gets cleared, then certainly yes, this will confirm a forthcoming higher high, and potentially more buyers could join in. So keep that in mind. For the downside now, of course, it's very tempting here to kind of try and maybe take advantage of this and maybe see another move lower. So what I'll say here is that if we drop again below this 83 territory and we stay below it, then yes, I'll aim for a bit of a larger correction to the downside here towards this upside line. And if that gets broken, now that's where it could become a little bit more interesting for a few more sellers. Quick update on Litecoin. So unlike other cryptos, Litecoin is a little bit lagging behind, seems to be so, but at the end of the day, it's still showing some interesting formations here. So from the technical side, I would say, as you can see, the 21-day EMA is doing its job and providing support. However, this downside line taken from the high of the 21st of October is also doing its job and kind of holding the crypto from moving higher. So in a way, if you're looking for the upside, well, pretty straightforward. A break of this downside line is required, and then yes, we could go for the upside. For the downside, we need to see a drop somewhere below this 185 territory in order to get a little bit more excited with the downside. Quick update on AUD and ZD. So if you continue to, well, if you remember, I keep on talking about this one last week, and basically, as you can see, this 100-day EMA kind of somehow did its job and continued to provide resistance. We did have an overshoot here on Friday, but as you can see, it's still the body of the daily candle here ended up well below this 100-day EMA and back below this 1.0496 territory, which I've mentioned before. And now we're seeing that potentially, let's use that word, we could be seeing here maybe a possible head and shoulders pattern. However, in order to get a little bit more comfortable with that idea, still a break of the so-called neckline is needed. So until then, I'm just going to continue observing this one, but I would say this seems to be working out quite well, yeah, let's see how far this can travel, and if it can continue traveling to the downside, then like I said, I'll aim for this 1.041820 territory, roughly around here, because this is where roughly my neckline, the so-called neckline, is. USD CAD. So now this one's quite interesting. I haven't looked at this one for quite a while, but basically looking at the oil market as well, I mean, you can see that oil kind of started feeling kind of, let's say, a bit of weakness, and this is where USD CAD kind of came in, and you can see that now there is a bit of weakness in the Canadian dollar. However, from here specifically on this pair, I mean, looking at this chart, you can see that we're still trading below this downside line taken from the high of the 20th of September. So if you're looking for some downside, well, yes, there is still a possibility for this one to move lower. However, now at this point, I would rather maybe stick to this little territory, this 1.2311, and a nice good drop below it just could attract a few extra sellers here. But given the proximity of this pair to this downside line, of course, we need to be very careful, because if it suddenly breaks, and we see the pair popping higher and maybe moving above this 21-day EMA, then, well, that's where it can become a little bit more interesting for a few more buyers. GBP, JPY, haven't looked at this one for quite a while, but let me just have a fresh look. So first of all, let me just mark one of the lines here, and this is going to be that one. This is the highest point of May, and this is where the current holdup is happening. Another thing to mark here is this little short-term tentative downside line. Taken from the high of the 21st of October. So, yep, in other words, if you're looking for some downside, guys, then, well, still certain confirmation breaks are needed. So at the moment, yes, we're getting a hold up near this highest point of May, so let's see if that's not going to end up being a very nice area of support. If it does, then certainly, yes, we need to keep an eye on this little downside line. If that gets broken, that's where a few more buyers could join in. However, if the pair starts falling below this, the low of last week near the 155.70 territory, and then also falls below the 21-day EMA, now that's where I will aim for the downside, and I'll aim for slightly lower areas. Eurocad, quick update on that one. So yeah, this is what I talked about last week. So it was interesting to see what's going to happen here, but this is what I was saying, be very careful. Now let's get rid of this Fibonacci, no longer needed. Now the main focus will be, of course, on this 1.4319 territory, or actually, let me just adjust this, I think. So, okay, so this got violated a few times, so probably now it's better to stick to this lowest point of October near the 1.4294 level. So, a nice good drop below it, first of all, would confirm a forthcoming lower low, and then, yes, we could aim for lower areas. For example, initially aiming for the lowest point of February of 2020 near the just zoom in here a little bit, 1.4264, and then yes, we will have to just take it from there. Maybe the low of the lowest point of April of 2017 could be a nice target. However, as you can see, that's quite a bit of a road. However, I mean, everything's possible. So for now, long story short, guys, keeping an eye on that lowest point of October near the 1.4294. If that gets broken, then yes, I'll aim for the downside. For the upside, I would need to see it push above this the high of Friday, the high of last week, near the 1.4442 zone, and then yes, we could. I'll then kind of get a little bit more comfortable with the upside. And finally, EURUSD. So beautiful reversal back down here. So after Lagarde's press conference, you can see that it gave a boost here to the euro, but yeah, it kind of faded away on Friday, and the US dollar got stronger, and we saw this pair falling below this little short-term tentative upside support line taken from below the 13th of October, but it didn't really kind of go all the way towards the lowest point of October, or it came very close to it, but didn't really reach that. So for now, I'm going to take a bit of a careful approach here, and if you're looking for some downside, a drop below this 1.1529 zone right here, 1.1529 territory. A nice good drop below that area would confirm a forthcoming lower low. Actually, I think this is a let me just quickly double check here. The low, so 1.1525 territory, that's the one that I'm going to keep an eye on. So that's the lowest point of October. A nice good drop below it, yep, would confirm a forthcoming lower low, guys. And my next target will be around these two levels, and I'm not having a specific level here yet, but roughly I'm going to aim for this area. Near the in between the 1.1422 and 1.1452 levels here, and then we'll take it from there. For the upside, well, I would need to see this one popping back above this 1.1582 territory at least, and then of course we'll have to reevaluate everything again. We'll just have to, first of all, we need to get rid of this upside line, no longer needed, and maybe then if it pops back above this hurdle, maybe it could go for a bit of a retracement again here. But at the moment, guys, this pair is not really looking the strongest, so let's be very careful with that. So guys, that's it for the session. I really hope you found it useful, and thank you very much for watching and listening. I really appreciate your views, your likes, guys. Thank you very much for that. If you want to join me tomorrow morning, as always, I'm a Trader's Espresso at 6 o'clock GMT time. Oh, sorry, 7 o'clock GMT time now. But yeah, 7 o'clock GMT time. So, yep, thank you very much, guys, for tuning in, and I'll see you tomorrow. Thank you very much, and bye-bye.